Hello guys, welcome back to Tech is Fun. In this video, we are going to learn about Linux file permissions. Linux file permissions are important because they can be very helpful if you want to restrict your files, or if you want to restrict usage of files to particular user, so that particular user or a group of users can only read that file or write onto that file. So Linux permissions are a very important concept to understand. Now in the last video, as we saw that we use ls-l command to view the permissions of particular file or a directory. So here we can see that these are the permissions given to dir2 directory. There is a syntax for this particular file permissions, as you can see: d, rwx, rwx and r-x. Now this line means that D stands for directory, that this file is dir2 is a directory. Rwx stands for R stands for read, W stands for write, X stands for execution. Now here we can see that there is one dash given over here. This means that write permission W is not there. Write permission is not given. Now how Linux file permissions work is in this way, that these are there are three set of blocks. This is block 1 rwx, this is block 2 rwx, and this is r-x. W is not given. This is the third block, and D stands for directory. Over here this is a file 1 is a file. Here D is not there because this is not a directory, this is a file, so this is dash. Again there is rw and X is missing. So in the first block we can see that X is missing. In the second block we can see again X is missing, and in the third block we see that W and X both are missing. Now to see how all this works, let's go to here. So these are the different file permissions. For directory we use D, for files we use dash, for a link there are two types of link, hard links and soft links, which are shortcuts. We call it shortcuts in Windows and we call links in Linux. So these are shortcut folders. So L stands for that link, and C stands for character devices, sorry. So now, as I told, there are three sets. Now the first set, is for the owner, the user owner, that who is the owner of this group and what permissions do you want to give to that user owner. Now the second set set of block rwx is for the group owner, that which group is the owner and what kind of permissions do you want to give to this group. And excluding the group users and user owner, whatever the remaining users are there, they are given this others permission, rwx. Now as you can see here, I have given rwx and rwx. So I have given all the permissions to everyone. I have given the user owner can read also, write also and execute also. The group owner can also read, write and execute, and remaining other users can also read, write and execute. If I want to give only read and write permission to user owner, if I want to give only read permission to group owner, and if I want to give again only read to others, then the permission will be like this: r w dash, then it will be only r, then again dash dash, and the last will be only R again. So these are 3 set. Now we'll assume that we have a file. So again this will be dash dash, and again this will be dash. Okay, so this will be the kind of permission that we want, that will give. Now to execute this on the command line, now we'll use the chmod command. Now consider that I want to give here, in this file1 file, I want to give only read permission to group owner and others. So here this W should be removed. In this second block, this W should be removed and this will remain as it is. So what I can do is, I just have to write chmod G minus W in file1. Now if we check, then W is gone. Now again, if I want to give write permissions to group, then I will just write G plus file1. Now if I want to give execute permissions to user owner also, group owner also, and to others also, then I can write chmod ugo plus x in file1. Okay, so x user owner also got execute permission, group owner also got execute permission, and others also got execute permission. So all the users will be able to now execute this file1 file. Okay, now if I again want to remove execute permissions from all of them, then I'll just write ugo. U is for user, G is for group owner, and O is for others, minus X. So remove execute permissions for all of them. Now if I check again, then X is gone. Now nobody will be, none of them will be able to execute the file. They will only be able to read or write, and other users won't be able to do that also. Okay, now there is one more concept. Now this we did was through words. Now we can also do this the same through numbers in the numerical form. So I can just write that chmod 620 and file1. Now to learn about this, let's go to drawing again. Here. Now I have written something over here. This is kind of an equation. First box will contain either 1 or 0. The second box will also contain either 1 or 0. The third box will also contain either 1 or 0. Now let's see when do we write 1 and when do we write 0. Now the first box is for read, second is for write, and third is for execute. Now if we want to give this above permission, that is rw dash r dash dash and r dash dash, for using the numerical form, that then we will consider here as R. You want to give R permission, so consider here 1. Now you want to give W permission, so consider here 1, but you don't have here execute permission, so this will be 0. Now if you calculate this equation, then it will calculate to 6. Okay, now for the group owner, you have only read permission here, so only the first block will be 1 and others will be 0. So now if you solve this equation, then you will get 4. Now again for the others, you have only read permission. So only the first box will be 1, other 2 will be 0. So again this will be 4. Okay, so this is what the permission you got for your file. This and this, both of them are exactly same. You can use either of them to change the permissions of the file or any directory. So if we write 644 and file 1, and if I check, we got the same permission here. This was RW, group owner had only read, and others also had only read permission. Now if I want to give all the permissions to all the users, then I'll just write 777 and file 1. Now if I check, all the users have all the permissions. You can verify this 777 using this equation that we saw earlier. Give 1 to all of them, 1 to all the 3 boxes, and calculate this equation. You will get 777 for all the, for user owner also, for group owner also, and for others also. Now there is one more shortcut for this particular command, ugo plus w file 1. Now instead of writing U, G and O, you can just write A. A is for all. So chmod, if I want to give execute permissions to all the 3 of them, then I'll just have to write A plus X file 1. Now if we check, then here all of them got the X permissions. So instead of writing UGO, you can just write A. Now one thing that you have to remember is that whenever you create a file or a directory, your operating system will have default permissions, because when you create a file or a directory, you don't give permission. It is created by default. Now if you want to change that permission, you can do so using the chmod command. But while creating the file or a directory, you don't give permission. It is always given by your operating system by default. And what are those permissions? Let's see. I'll create another directory, dir3. Now let's check its permission. Okay, so my operating system here has given all the permissions to owner, all the permissions to group owner, and only read and execute permission to others. It has not given any write permission to others. Whereas if I try to make a file 2, then by default it has not given execute permissions to owner, group owner, and read and write permissions to others. It has not given that permissions to file 2. Now if I want to give write permission to others in this file 2, then I can write using what we saw earlier in file 2. Now if I check, then it has given the write permission. But so that's what I wanted to say, that for the directories and files, when you create it at first, the default permissions are given by your operating system. And if you want to check what those default permissions are given and how it is giving them those permissions, then you can write the umask command. But what did we get over here? What is this 002? Let's find out. For defaults, it is using, the umask is using 666 for files and 777 for the directory. But what is it? What is 666 and what is 777? Let's find out. So by default, Linux operating system takes the umask, that is takes 666 file permission for files and 777 for directories. As I had written here, it will take this. But what is 666 and what is 777? It will subtract that 002 number from this 666. It will subtract it. What we got here is 664, and it will give this permission to any file that you create. So it will give read and write permissions to the owner, it will give read and write permissions to the group owner, and it will give only read permission to others. Okay, so 664 means R W dash R W dash and only R dash dash. It will by default, whenever you create a file, it will give this permission, and then when you want to change this permission, then you know how to do that. Similarly, for the directory, it will subtract 002 from 777, and it will give 7 minus 2 will be 5. It will give 7 will stand for R W X. Again 7 stands for R W X, and 5 stands for read, not write, and only X. So by default my system is giving this permission to directories whenever I create one, and it is giving this particular permission for file which I create. So let's check that again. Again I am creating dir4 and I am creating a file 4. Now if I check, then the dir4, now if I check, then the dir4 is getting this permission what we calculated above, and my file 4 is getting this permission that we calculated over here. So now you can also change this umask if you want to. You can just write 022, whatever umask you want to give. I am giving 022. Now if I check dir5, and here now if you subtract 777 from 022, then you will get 755, and this is the 755 permission. As you can see, RWX is 7, RNX is 5, and RNX is 5. So my umask has been changed. Now if I check again what is my umask, then it will show me that it is 022. Alright, so that's it for this video. See you guys in the next one.